How are you doing?
Pleasure to meet you.
What's the name?
Gerry Buckley from Athlone.
Gerry Buckley. Suppose the first question to ask is, how did you come into the faith?
It was more or less like the last person who was talking through pro-life experience, that we found the faith through our mother and father, basically, because we were very heavily involved in the pro-life campaign in 1983. And from there, basically, the pro-life were very much sort of on a secular level, that abortion was just basically murder, and they didn't like God being mentioned in their campaigns. And basically, we were always mentioning God, that we were going to lose a fight and losing battle on that front. Another distinct part of my formation was I went to boarding school from 79 to 82, and we used to get the benediction in Latin, which was unusual at the time because Novus Ordo had come in at that stage as well too. So it was more or less a development from there, from the pro-life, and from that they learned Latin. And
when did you find tradition?
1986.
So you were a Novus Ordo Catholic?
I was a Novus Ordo Catholic, yeah.
What do you think the difference is? What was the change like?
The difference lies within reverence and emotions. An awful lot of things the Novus Ordo is based on emotions, and it's leaving it very susceptible to any sort of errors, or prone to any sort of errors. With tradition, it's ironclad. It's this or it's nothing else. It's all or nothing. And there's no veering from the points around like that. You either accept the truth or you don't. But with the Novus Ordo, an awful lot of emotions are basically used to make make their faith very watery. It doesn't make it strong or anything like that at all.
In case they offend someone? Or?
Well, exactly. You're talking about peace, love and Nicaragua, and that's basically it. And that's what you were getting then.
And what is love? True love?
Love to them would be everyone hugging each other and kissing each other and giving it the sign of peace at Mass.
Yeah, but to a traditional Catholic?
To a traditional Catholic, it's love of God. It's the conformity to God's will. And it's humility. Yeah. And it's basically accepting what God sends you.
And you see a lot in the Novus Ordo Church, this, as you said, the feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
What do you think that's like for a man in the church? Do you think it's appealing, or?
It doesn't appeal to it appeals to senses and emotions. But what you want to know is what is God. But what you're getting in the Novus Ordo is, it's not God, it's more about how we can be gods by just our emotions alone. And it's very feminine, to say the least.
And what would you think of, what good is it to a person who has all this emotion but no doctrine? They don't know the faith, like, and the first line of the Catechism is know, love and serve God.
You're basing on something like with emotions or feelings or anything like that you're talking about, what would I say with the word for it? Short term. It's only short term. It can only last so long. You can only love so long. Like, we all know through life and through experiences in life and everything that you can fall out with your neighbour the next day after being lovely to them and everything and cleaning them and helping around at their houses or anything like that. And in a split second can all change. But it's only short term. With God, when you read about God, it is for the long term, because you know the base that He's there for eternity, that you want to be there. You want your love to be eternal as well too, for Him.
And when you came to tradition, what did you go to the indult Mass or did you go to the SSPX first?
We went to the Society St. Pius X right at the height of when it was starting to gather momentum, when the consecrations were done in 88 basically. We went in 86. When we started off in Athlone, it was a battle, a serious battle. We never had a church or anything like that. We were saying Masses in our houses. There was 3 houses at the time the Mass was being said in. We tried to rent out some halls, and we were actually literally ran out of them by the owners, hotels, halls and everything too, until 1990 a chance meeting with Bishop Williamson up in Dublin. We showed him a picture of a church, a Protestant church that was basically there, it was being sold, and the church was purchased that year, and we're in it ever since. It was just a chance that fell at our laps, like after the years of working basically to get places secure for her own without having to hold the Mass. As my father used to always say, it was like going back to the Mass rock. The first night he went back to Mass, it was the same until we got to church in Athlone, and it was a huge relief off our shoulders because we didn't have to answer to any priest bullying or targeting our Mass at that stage itself.
So do you think God is with the Society of Pius X? Or
Undoubtedly.
are they Protestants and schismatics, as people often call?
It's undoubted because it's thrived over the years that it started out. When it actually started, it was, 1970, 1971. There was 6 people with Archbishop Lefebvre at that time, I think, or something in his first sermon. Now it's over 500, 600 priests, brothers, affiliations all over the world, convents, churches basically been built everywhere, and it's been spread out in that time. It's obvious that the fruits, as Jesus said, by their fruits you shall know them, that it's the work of God.
I think Archbishop Lefebvre himself said, if my work is of God, it will live on.
Exactly.
So what do you think the future of the society is? Do you think there'll ever be a reconciliation with Rome? On what terms will that reconciliation come? Will the society read Vatican II in the light of tradition, or what way do you think it's going to come about?
I can't see that happening because Vatican II's actually destroyed everything that the Catholic Church has built over 2,000 years. And that's clear as day. The faith has been lost. There's no vocations. Seminaries are closing down. Colleges, schools. You even see it only in the legislation of our own country. Within my own, I actually work in the Department of Education. Even within our own department, the patronage of schools is under attack constantly every day. Everything is gone, and the faith is gone because of that.
And how's the SSPX going to keep themselves from being corrupted by all this
Well,
chaos?
they basically start from scratch. You have to start from scratch. What's been taken away, we have to give back. I have a statement basically. It's a line I've said before, that all subjects that you used to talk about in the 1940s and 50s, to my mother I said this, that were taboo, that nobody would talk about, wouldn't even dare mention about it, have now become untabooed. And what people were talking about back then, the Catholic faith and morals and faith, has now become taboo. It's become the taboo subject. So we have to start from scratch. Like what we did today with this Catholic action. And we have to show people that the Catholic faith is not dead, no matter what. And that has to be shown out in public. And that's where we start from scratch.
Start from scratch. So you think there's hope for the future? Do you think that the society will maintain the faith?
Well, what I've seen today has given me great hope.
Do you think that the young people are more attracted to this type of Catholicism rather than the Novus Ordo, happy clappy?
I would say so, but there's a big problem in the way. It's indifferentism, that they do not really seem to care. But if they got, you only need to instruct them.
You often hear this thing said that the young people of Ireland have lost faith. Do you think they've ever been given the faith?
No.
No. Is the Novus Ordo system, or a lot of people call it new religion, do you think it is a new religion?
It's a conciliar church now. Due to maybe 2-3 reasons. They preach a universal salvation. They say all religions are equal. And as I said before, they base their religion an awful lot on emotions. That's basically it, really.
What would you think the sole crisis, if you could fix anything in the church immediately, what would you tackle first?
Education. Undoubtedly education.
So people need to learn the faith again.
Need to learn, full stop. I actually think that their education has de-educated them. That they're not actually, it's not even that they're educated. They've been taught to learn nothing.
they think they're Catholic, but they're not. They don't have any Catholic doctrine or principles.
Pretty much so. Pretty much so.
So thanks very much for that lovely insight.
Okay. Thank you.